Hey guys, I hope everyone out there is having a great day. For today's video, I want to talk about something that I've alluded to in other videos. I know I've mentioned this topic at least one time. But today what I'm going to talk about is loaning money. How do you handle it when people want to approach you and they want to borrow money in the Philippines? Now, I know some of you are going to say, Kevin, everything you're about to share, it's just common sense, so why bother? And the reason that I'm talking about this is when I moved to the Philippines, I had some really good mentors that shared some of this kind of thing with me, and it was really helpful. And so if me sharing this video just if it helps just one or two people, then that's fine with me. I really do not mind doing it at all. But let's get back to the topic, loaning money. Here's what you have to keep in mind. If someone approaches you in the Philippines and they want to borrow money, you never really know if they intend to pay it back or not. And you may even be surprised at the people who would and would not pay back the money. And that's why what I would encourage you to do is follow a very simple principle, and that is do not loan what you cannot lose. Do not loan an amount that you cannot afford to lose. And I know some of you are saying, well, Kevin, if I move to the Philippines, I'm never going to give money to anyone. And, you can do that if you want. It's your money, so it's up to you. But you are going to encounter situations where I think if you really if you really move to the Philippines and you really get involved in a community and make a lot of friends, you'll encounter situations where you really want to help someone. So how do you go about doing this without hurting yourself? And it goes back to what I just said. Do not loan money that you can't afford to lose. Now I'm going to share with you a couple of experiences I've had with this just to give you kind of an idea. I remember back this was the early 2000s when I was doing student ministry. I had a student approach me and she asked for some help with, I think it was tuition. And it wasn't a huge amount. I think it was about $100. And so, I agreed to help her with that. And I was kind of hoping she would pay back because I thought that was, what she told me. I just need this in a couple of weeks. I think she had a relative or somebody that was going to be paying her and she would get the money back to me. And I guess all of you know where this is going. I never got the money back. I texted her a time or two and she never gave it back. Now at the time, this was before the recession hit, and at the time, giving away $100, that was a little bit of a pinch, but it really didn't make that big of a difference in my budget for that month. So, I learned back then that that's the principle to follow. And again, I already when I loaned the money to her, I already knew that there was a good chance I may not see it again. And again, that's what you have to keep in mind. I'll give you another example. This is a much, much smaller amount, but I remember right before my wife and I left the Philippines, we had a lady that would come in about, I forgot how often, but we had someone that would come to our home to do a manicure and pedicure for my wife. That sounds like a huge luxury, but you can do that pretty cheaply in the Philippines, actually. And I forgot all of the reasons, all of the circumstances behind it, but she basically asked us to pay for, she wanted a little bit of money, and she asked if we could basically go ahead and pay for the next session in advance. And this is somebody we had worked with for quite a while, or she had been, we had been her customer for quite a while. And so, yeah, we agreed to do that. And again, this wasn't a huge amount of money. This was maybe $10, something like that, because we just thought, okay, she'll come back the next week and, that debt'll be paid off. And I guess you can see where this is going too. It's kind of weird because we just never heard from her again. And so the thing is, you just may get surprised by the people who would not pay you back, like I said earlier. So it's something to keep in mind. One other thing that you need to think about too, in terms of loaning money to people, especially friends, is that if they can't pay you back, then that can destroy the relationship, even if you're not the one who's angry about it. Because another thing that I had to be very conscientious about was, let's say that I loan a little money to someone and they're not able to pay me back, then the problem is I may never see that person again. Even if I want to see them again, they may be so ashamed about not paying me back that they disappear. And so sometimes you can destroy relationships by loaning money without even intending to. And it's not your fault. They're the ones who didn't pay back, but they will be very embarrassed to approach you again. So anyway, I hope this little tip that I'm giving you helps you. It's just really simple. If you cannot afford to lose that amount of money, don't loan it. One final thing that you may want to consider, and this is something that I probably did a time or two while I was in the Philippines. If somebody asked me for help with something and they talked about borrowing money, and I just didn't want to create the expectation of them paying me back, sometimes what I would do is say, here's this money, it's not a loan, this is just a gift. That way, again, if it's a friend or something like that, I don't want that friend to be uncomfortable around me next time because they haven't paid me back. So sometimes I would just say, this is just a gift, take it and use it for what you told me you were going to use it for, and then that was the end of it. Now, of course, if that person keeps coming back over and over again, then that's where you draw the line. But I think you see where I'm going with this. Just be wise and be careful with how you manage your money.